What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. As I bumped the heck out of my camera, I don't know what's going on today. I think I had it a little too close to the edge and I scooted up as I was talking to y'all and I just bumped into it. But anyway, I hope you're all doing well today. Today, I'm going to be bringing you my full review of the WE Seer. The WE Seer has a 3.48 inch 20 CV blade steel, yeah, American made steel on a Chinese knife, you heard me right. 4.72 inch titanium scales. Look at that titanium coating. What a fantastic job they did with that coating. Overall length on the Seer is 8.2 inches, so this one is long and slender. Really different approach to the knives that you usually see from WE. They're usually a little bit thicker or smaller in profile, and they claim that the weight is 3.42 ounces. So let's go ahead and bring the scale out and test that out. 3.42 claimed. Ooh, way off, way off. What's going on, WE Seer? 3.7. Let me make a note of that too, because I want to make sure that I reference that later. Usually Seer is on the game when it comes to the weight, but 3.7 versus 3.42 is a significant difference, guys. Very, very different. All right, what I'm going to do is go ahead and go through my usual comparison knives. So let me go ahead and bring them out really quickly. First up is one of my favorite EDC knives, the Yojimbo 2, which is also done in 20 CV. American knife with American steel, Chinese knife with American steel. You guys figure it out. Next up is going to be the Spyderco Shaman. The Spyderco has the S30V blade steel, and I do have the fat carbon dark matter scales that Carbonize makes for these knives. As you can see here, it's closer in length to the Shaman, but it is much skinnier in profile than both these knives when you consider the blade shape and the handle shape. The skinnies on the Shaman get it a little bit closer, but it is still much skinnier. All right, let's go ahead and bring out the crossbar locks that I like to do. First up is going to be the SIG K320 made by Hogue. And we're going to bring out one of my other favorites, the Benchmade bug out with the titanium scales. So you can see this is closer in profile to the bug out, but still longer than either one of these knives. Very interesting how long this knife is. All right, let's go ahead and bring out the budget knives. First is going to be the KU321, aka the Kubi Royal. And the other knife that I wanted to bring out today, a little bit different. I just realized I am super duper crooked here. There we go. The Seer Elementum button lock, and you're probably picking up on why. You can see that this is definitely longer than both, but I'm going to take the Kubi to the side for a second so I can talk a little bit about why I brought the Elementum button lock out here to compare with the WE Seer. So as you can tell, these have a very similar profile, and when I was carrying and using the Seer, I really felt like it just gave me the impression that it is a premium button lock with a flat grind instead of a hollow grind and with a liner lock instead of a button lock. Even in the closed position, these feel very similar in size and profile and how much space they occupy in the pockets. They even have very similar pocket clips, even though I upgraded to the old Elementum pocket clip to get rid of that hot spot from that particular clip. And here you can see again, they are starting to go back down with the ramp, but you can see this one sits down lower in the pocket and is it has less presence when it's there. So I really did, and I'm leaving that out here for a comparable knife, I really did feel like this was kind of in that territory. It's just the premium version of the button lock. That's how it felt to me. I'm not saying that's what it is. That's just how it felt to me. Let's go ahead and bring out another comparable knife. You're going to see here, this is the Artisan Cutlery Series, which does come in some premium versions, but I feel is a very similar knife as far as overall pocket presence and profile. Another knife that I think from a premium perspective that I have is going to be the MKM Gosia. I think this is another knife that compares very well, even though it's not sitting on the pocket clip very well at this particular moment. But you can really get a sense of why I kind of feel like it falls into that territory. It's just that the WE Seer is much longer, but it does have a very similar shape, you know, where it has the finger cut out, then it curves out for a little bit in the belly and the midsection, and then it skinnies back out. Both of these have a really nice flat grind to them as well. And then another knife that I think does compare pretty well out of my inventory to it is going to be the Chris Reeves Nkosi. I feel like these are very similar in length, but the Nkosi is much more thicker. Not much more, but it is thicker through the handle and then much more thicker through the blade. So I feel like this is kind of occupying that same type of territory, except the Chris Reeve has the hollow grind and the WE has the flat grind. So let me just talk a little bit about this knife. I'm going to start with the disappointing part of it. So I did pick up the limited, and you can see here in the numbering, trying to get it in the, there you go. You can see the numbering, which one this is. I can't really see it from there. I have to look over here. Number 198 out of 610, CPM 20 CV on the blade. Very minimal branding. I do like that. Here's the thing. This has a coated titanium with like anodizing here and these little itty bitty cutouts, and then it has some anodized titanium hardware. Disappointing that they didn't actually throw a milled titanium pocket clip on this limited edition WE. I do love the fact that it does have American made steel on here, even though it is cut at the WE factory. It's still provided by the US. They did a pretty good job. It's super duper thin behind the edge. WE Civivi does a fantastic job with their edges coming out of the factory. Minimal branding here. It looks seamless. What I haven't done at this point is take it apart to see if it's actually integrated to the scale or if they just did a fantastic job hiding the seams on the pivot. It looks really good. I like the pivot on this side. Let me just for my own safety. I do like the bronzed hardware. I think it looks really good. I think the coating on the titanium looks really good. But I'm just disappointed that they're calling this a limited edition knife and there's just nothing special to it about it to me. You know, it looks like the other Seer that's out there that is not limited, which is just the bare titanium and, you know, no coloring to it. So I really just feel like all they did was add some coating and anodize some stuff and threw the title limited on it. Really just disappointed. I know there's limited production of this, which I also understand attributes to the limited, but I mean, you could grab the basic one and you could throw this exact same anodizing and coating on it and not be able to tell any difference. The hardware, the pocket clip, all of it is the same. Ergonomics, they're pretty good. I like the button lock a lot, and this does remind me a lot of the button lock, so it does feel comfortable in hand. It does feel a little bit more gentlemanly than most of the knives that I would say that are around or over the 8-inch mark, because it is very slender. Again, I am going to bring the Sirius back out here because this is another knife that I feel like kind of falls into that category, except the Seer has more contouring for better ergos, but it does have that unusually long but slender profile, so it does feel like you could carry it into a more formal setting. I do like the 20 CV. I opened some packages and I cut up some cardboard. I didn't want to go too hard at it because I wasn't quite sure how I feel about using a limited edition knife. It could end up becoming a part of my permanent rotation though, because it just nothing about it to me screams limited out, other than the fact that they claimed it was limited and they just did some aesthetics to it. I do like the little finger choil here. You can move up on the knife quite comfortably to do some precision detail work. You know, if you're out here working on something and you need a little bit more leverage or to keep it from moving around too much, it's nice. Again, really, really thin. This feels very slicey. I think this would be a good knife if they didn't try to pass off the limited piece, in all honesty. Excellent jimping on the flipper tab. Again, it is one type of deployment, so if you're looking for something where you can get down in there and flick it, you're going to run the risk of being able to do that yourself without having any assistance with a fuller or thumb studs or anything like that. And again, you see, you got to be careful. You got to get right beside where the lock bar cutout is. Going in and out of the pocket. The pocket clip actually works really well, has plenty of clearance, and it does sit on the non-lock side of the lock side. So what I'm saying is it sits on the frame, not the lock bar, is what I was trying to say, but not so well there. It does have a spot for a lanyard. I'm not a lanyard guy, and this is so long that I really think it would just be silly to have the lanyard on there. Saying all of that, I still have the lanyard on my Nkosi, but it came with that. I didn't put that on after the fact. I just tend to not remove it sometimes unless it really bothers me. Overall, would I recommend this knife? No. This is not a knife I would recommend. If you like this knife, I would get the regular Seer for, what is it, $50 less. And again, they are only charging $50 for the extra aesthetics and the anodized hardware. I wish they would have thrown in a milled titanium pocket clip instead of the stamped titanium. I think that would have probably helped me swallow the price difference a little bit more. But I would say spend $50 less and get the regular Seer if you're interested in this knife. To me, there's nothing special about this limited edition over the Seer. I would not recommend it if you were spending that knife. I would get the WE Esprit, or I would look elsewhere entirely. I would go pick up an MKM Gosia. And if you wanted to get it for $200, you could get the micarta version, which has the Bowler M390. It has the inset liner lock. It does have anodized titanium, and it does have a stamped, but I like the way that this one's done a little bit better. It lays flat, titanium backspacer, titanium pivot, and pivot collar. You're getting a lot for a base modeled knife that is not limited edition. Anyway, take that as you will. Am I saying that this is a bad knife? No, it works and functions very well. It has very good materials on it. They have a very good edge on it, have a very nice grind. I like the side-to-side grind on it. I think that looks really nice. I love how they made this seamless. If this pivot is removable, I love that it is seamless. If it's not, I love that they integrated it into the handle. That is fantastic. They did a really good job with the bronzed anodized hardware. I think it looks really good. Hopefully it holds up as well. But the more time I spend with this knife, I feel like for the extra $50 to get the limited, I would have just got the basic and try to do some of the anodized stuff myself. Having said that, this is probably going to end up going into my normal rotation of stuff that I use, and it probably is going to be more so something I carry like office carry, or if I'm going to like a wedding or somewhere a little bit more formal for a nice fancy dinner, I could break this out, cut some steak, and not feel too odd about it. I wouldn't feel like I was breaking out. Let's see. I wouldn't be breaking out my ZTO 562 to cut some steak or something at a steakhouse. No, I don't recommend this knife. I think the WE Esprit, the Subjugator, I think came out recently, and I think there's another one that looks kind of like the Subjugator, depending on whether you have the flipper tab or the thumb studs, whatever you prefer. I would go for those knives. I think those would be a little bit better option than this one. And those are just my thoughts. Again, you might have this knife and you might love it. You might like it because you prefer something that's more slender in hand. But again, I think that you could go with the Sirius from Artisan Cutlery or the MKM Gosia. Those are really good options, I think, for a more affordable price, giving you kind of the same things. I think WE has a miss here. That is my review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, do me a favor, leave a like and consider subscribing. I'd love to have you follow along as I try to go to the channel. I appreciate everyone out there who has supported me this far. It means the world to me. I really appreciate it. All of you are amazing and awesome for doing that. Thank you so much. I hope all of you have a fantastic week, guys. Until next time, peace.